slow, sustainable, culturally rooted fashion on the other. Before we get into the topic, let me introduce our esteemed panelists to you. Our first panelist, Gauravi Chaudhary, is a textile specialist with a deep focus on natural dye, eco-printing, and sustainable textile practices. She has worked extensively with artisans across India on zero-waste methods and capacity building programs, keeping traditional techniques relevant in today's fast world. Gauravi. Our next speaker, Dr. Srinanda Palit, is an academician and researcher with over 25 years of experience in the fashion and craft sectors. She has presented her research on slow fashion and craft-based empowerment across the globe and is currently an assistant professor at NIFT Kolkata. An associate professor at NIFT Kolkata. Joining us is Anupama Das, a multidisciplinary artist with 3 decades of experience in fine arts, textiles, and craft. Her creative journey, shaped by exposure to multicultural influences in India and South Africa, explores tradition through contemporary expression. Our final panelist, our next panelist, Sunetra Lahiri, is a national award-winning designer and co-founder of Running Stitch. Her work celebrates Indian handcraft traditions such as embroidery and block printing, and she has been at the forefront of reimagining these crafts for modern audiences. And finally, Sarita Ganeriwala, the founder and creative director of Karomi. Through Karomi, she has spent over 20 years collaborating with weaving clusters and artisans to create innovative handwoven textiles, especially in Jamdani and Kantha, and is a passionate advocate for sustaining handloom traditions in a changing world. So the topic for today that we have is, can craft compete? Relevance of handloom in today's fast world. So it's an era dominated, like we just said, dominated by instant gratification, mass production, speed, scale, where trends are changing every quarter. In fact, these big fashion houses come out with 3 to 4 collections in a year. Sometimes more. So I want to open this question to all of you. In this kind of situation, what exactly is the position of handcrafted textiles? What is the cultural and economic relevance of handloom today? Gauravi, can we start with you?
Sure. Well, today I see handloom as a very sustainable and a different kind of it's got its own place, and maybe it's because of its ethical practices and sustainability, and it's an alternative, it's a different kind of approach. So we can't really compare with fast fashion. It's slow fashion, but it's got a lot of its goodness, and we have to delve deep into it because each our master weaver, which we have, is churns out unique masterpieces of textile goods. So that's a different aspect. So we really can't compare with fast fashion.
So you're saying every piece becomes then unique, and it's something
Yeah,
fast fashion
yes.
really can't replicate.
And it's not replication actually. See, fast fashion has different kind of issues. And here we're using natural fibers, and we have people who, for generations, weaving such beautiful products. So, fast fashion is totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't, it's like comparing chalk and cheese.
Yes.
So what is the cultural and economic relevance of handloom in today's cultural?
If you look at our own country, I think a vast majority of our rural sector is actually economically benefiting from handloom. Simply, that is their livelihood. That is their main livelihood. And it's not just textiles; it's across so many different crafts. So that, of course, is the economic relevance. But culturally, when you think of it, culturally, comparing it to our own country, when you look at it, culturally, very inherent and very indigenous to the land, isn't it? It speaks of certain stories that are very, there's an identity.
Cultural identity.
It speaks to the cultural identity of its people, of its land. So you can't discount that and impose fast fashion onto everyone. I mean, both have its. I mean, you can't say that the entire world needs to be only on handloom, because I think that would be highly unsustainable.
I think, when we are looking at fast fashion and handloom, which is slow fashion, we are talking about two ends of a spectrum.
Yeah.
So they are very diverse, they have their own place. But if I'm talking about the Indian context, let's just go back in history and see that how khadi was used as a weapon to champion. Gandhi used it against the Britishers, against the the man-made polyesters.
He united the entire
exactly.
country based on
Khadi.
saving
Yeah.
your own.
Yeah, it was a non-violent weapon that was given to the Indians to fight against the British Raj. So I think we already have that heritage, and if we look at India, one country with so many states, each of us have unique.
Our own state
exactly.
has so many different crafts,
things.
and when you look at
Weaving.
just textiles, also there are so many different genres.
So
of
I think
textiles here.
countries apart from India, they would not have so much of material to source from. So they will have to depend on more on fast fashion. Another thing that I've seen in India, while a lot of designing and fashion has evolved, people have started adopting handloom and handcrafted things in a more globally accepted silhouette. For example, let's say our sari. Our sari is something where we don't need to do a sizing. Anybody with any size can wear it.
Yes.
So that is so sustainable. You can drape it in
And
whatever
yeah,
way.
you can drape it in so many interesting ways.
Exactly. And also the
Traditionally
fact
and
that
non-traditionally.
we pass on our saris, for generations. I think those are inherent qualities that we have, and that makes this handloom and handcrafted sector very unique, which I think we can't compare when it comes to fast fashion, because fast fashion is something.
It's use and throw.
Yeah, so even the user is not wearing it more than 2-3 times.
There is no emotional
That is what I think
engagement
so. The
with what
emotional
you're
value.
wearing. It does not
Yes,
tell you
value
the
addition.
story of where it's come from, who the maker is. You couldn't care less, it's a machine.
Sure, the
Right? The
emotional
maker is a
value.
machine. There is no emotional.
Yes, it's
connection.
very important, and the relevance will never be lost, because in our country where we come from, we are steeped very much into the fabric of our, community. So whether it's northeast or south or the west or the top north, handloom and craft has always been not just the important aspect of their lives and their livelihood. It is also a part of the cultural identity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the relevance will never be lost in our country, because this is something that we cannot lose it. This
We
is
can't afford it.
handed from generation
We
down
can't
on.
afford it.
Even in a wedding, for instance, today, in any wedding you go, you will not see something that is not handcrafted. It will inevitably be
Absolutely.
there,
True.
and it's a part of the rich tapestry that we have in our country. So the relevance will never be lost, and
It
there's no
speaks of-
question
It
of.
speaks of years of patience.
Absolutely.
It talks of, I don't know, it's so
It is
emotionally
and that's what I mean. Like,
involving.
it's ingrained
That
in our
it's-
DNA.
You cannot
Yes.
do away with it.
I would just like to put in one thing here. See, we are talking about emotions, we are talking about feeling culturally rich and everything. But if our weavers and artisans are not earning, if it
No,
doesn't
no,
become a
that's the
livelihood,
challenges. Those
that's
are
the
challenges.
economic
Yes.
side that we need to also look at.
Absolutely. No, so
That's a
So
different
did I want to
aspect.
say
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
Challenges.
I just want to say that over the last few years, this handloom really has become very popular, and whenever we this day comes, we have all the political leaders, everyone jumps into the bandwagon of handloom day and says our culture, our heritage, and everything. I exactly want to ask the government of India, what do you exactly do for the artisans? Exactly on the ground
Good
level.
question.
Okay?
Good
I mean,
question.
you are
That
saying
also.
we are promoting handlooms, you're gifting handlooms to world leaders, you're saying India is like 5,000 years of weaving, this, that. And in the end, you are actually subsidizing, promoting power looms.
Exactly what is happening now for
Yeah,
years.
that is what we are facing.
Oh my God.
And let's say India is the country which is the original, let's say, propagator of luxury. So people were savages roaming around in the forest when we were already doing Indus Valley, we were weaving, we
Yeah.
were doing great pottery, we were doing everything.
Our muslin was
Yes.
the reason
Yes.
why we got colonized in the first place.
Yeah, one of the reasons.
One of the
reasons.
our
Our
spices.
Yeah.
Spices and muslin were the reason why we
Yeah.
got
It's the
colonized.
revival of muslin.
Yeah, so what I would like to know is most of the people who have done great in handlooms, who have supported artisans, it is through their individual effort.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So you have only yourself to fall back on, and we have learned this culture of use and throw. And you know, it's like an expiration date is kind of built into the products that is made. So that is what we have to get out of the mindset. I still remember very lovingly, you know, an HMT watch my dad used to wear. It doesn't exist anymore. 2016, the government of India shut it down. Okay. Anybody has bought a pen and bought a refill for it in the last
No,
few
it's
years?
a use and throw
It's
culture.
become
Use
use
and
and throw
exactly. So
culture now.
we need to get out of the things.
How
have
we
to be
used to
built.
fill ink in our
Yes.
pens,
Yeah,
remember when
fountain
we were young?
pens,
Fountain
yeah.
But
pens.
it
I
seems a
used to use a
revival
fountain
again.
pen.
It's very
So
difficult.
very slow revival is happening.
So because I tell you, if you say do not use plastic, is it possible? Can you imagine a
You
wooden
cannot.
bucket?
No.
No, of
It's
course,
not
we are.
that.
So this is the reason, I think that, from what I understand from all of you, this is the reason, these are the various reasons why it's become so important to keep these traditions alive,
Preserve our.
to preserve our traditions that we've probably grown up with, and one of which, like Srinanda said, was to give it to our next generation, our rich textiles.
Yeah.
We always pass it on to our daughters. We have a grandmother's saris, whether it's jewelry, whether
And
it's
even
saris.
the kids, you
even
know, the sweaters and all.
Yeah, so everything
Exactly.
was passed on.
One
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
one thing we have to
Yeah.
understand something. There's a lot of things that we take for granted. You know, especially in our own country. You know, my mother's Banarsi, that sari will come to me. We've taken it for granted. I'm going to have it in my life. Our children going to have it in their lives?
That's what I'm saying. So
know,
that is the
so
reason.
why-
That's what even Sunit was saying, that
Yeah.
we need to bring back the
We
culture
need to-
of use rather than use and throw.
Exactly.
Recycling,
Are we doing
repurposing
that?
that we're doing. So that we are. I think.
also want to say an example of one thing. Which country do you think is the most technologically advanced at the moment? Which country? Any idea?
Japan?
Japan, I guess.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who is the indigo master who is the most famous in the world for preserving the culture as it was? And he is actually teaching people.
Japan.
Japan, yes.
Japan. They
The
come to
Boro textiles.
Shantiniketan and
Yes.
then
No,
they teach.
that is the
Yeah.
guy who
Shanti
lives in a
Niketan.
remote, hilltop, Master
Right.
Shindo.
Yes.
And he's like the oldest person over there
Right.
who's the master, and
Sure.
he selects whom he wants to teach. It's not
Right.
everybody. So I'm just saying, why can't we do the same thing? The fact that we don't honor our artists.
We don't honor our artists.
The fact that we take things for
And our
granted, as
products.
she said, and our products because it's available on the footpath.
That's
Yeah.
right. And our
We do
product.
not
We take
put it
our
on
craft,
glass.
we
That's
don't
We take
respect
the
our
craft
craft.
for granted.
Yeah, we go to
So
malls
this is
and
where
we
the
see foreign
next
brands.
question comes in.
Exactly. Now,
Because
next
we take it so much for granted, can it really compete with this fast fashion? And should it really compete?
Yes,
As we
it
talk
Yes,
about
it should.
It
Huh?
should and it can.
I
I
think let
don't
us all
think-
take turns and we can start from there. Let us all, put in our views. We'll start
I
from there.
feel that there is no competition. I don't think they should be pitted one against the other. It should not be a common platform at all. There is no common platform for craft and fast fashion. Because if you're looking at craft, you have to look at it from the lens of something that is made with a lot of care, a lot of love, time, skill, a lot of energy and inherited skills have gone into making it. So how can you compare it with something that was made in 2 days or a day or something like that? Now, according to me, craft needs to be seen from the lens of luxury. You have to see it as something that is unique, that is special, and you have to pit it like that so that the artisans can also reap the benefits of the things that they make. Right now, it is all mass. Even our artisans are like, make that many pieces. Same क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? ठीक से बनाओ. So it's that culture of wanting to compete with fast fashion, wanting to deliver at a certain price is what is also leading our artisans to leave our crafts and go on to other. Some people are becoming drivers and some people are becoming.
Okay, leaving the trade.
I
All
feel
the
like
chickens
the
is-
corporate world, which is like if you take Tata, Reliance, everybody is jumping on the
Oh,
bandwagon,
yeah.
but we are reviving that.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're just going the same way as fast fashion, just repackaging the terms.
Yeah.
They're repackaging the things as slow fashion. It's not. As she said very correctly, they are actually destroying the craft. They're destroying the skill because they are actually giving to the market substandard things and they're paying, in volume, which the artisan thinks is economically viable, which is not in the long run. How much can you take out this much? I go to a store and I can't even find one thing of any quality to pick.
You can go to a khadi store today. Earlier, I remember when we were kids, we used to get such beautiful fabrics
Yeah,
from the
it's
khadi
now it's
store.
all
Now
Dead,
it's just
dead,
mixed.
dead,
It's not
dead,
even
dead.
pure khadi anymore.
It's
Yeah,
polyester
exactly.
wasp.
It's polyester
It's
wasp.
polyester
And the
wasp.
Yes,
sales
come to
people
this.
are completely, they just so, they don't even want to attend to it. They don't know what they're selling.
Yeah, most people anyway
They
never
don't
knew what they were
are
selling,
aware.
but they think that it's okay for polyester to be in the warp so long as there's a natural fiber in the web, and it's just, I mean, you know, did you ever think growing up that you would have a polyester warp sari?
I
Yeah,
It's
I
becoming the norm.
I did because Reliance used to sell garden variety, which was completely.
But that was a
That's
different
a-
genre.
that's
But I'm
Yeah.
saying I did
But
it
that
was
was a
there.
mill. That
Yeah,
is not
it was
handloom,
mill
but it
power,
was
but it
yeah.
was very, very popular.
Yeah, of course.
Even
That's also because
Vimal.
sarees from
Vimal.
Vimal
sarees
sari.
You
from
have to
China and
understand why
Japan.
was that I
Dialects.
heard this lady speak.
Yeah.
She was I think Forbes or somewhere. She said a very apt thing. In a country or in a world which is ridden by poverty, you can't expect everybody to go for craft.
Come
Because
from
it's
the
comes at a
government
price
sweet.
not everybody can afford.
Yeah.
So there will be polyesters, which is what works for them. And you can't take away that from their life because that's how they survive. You can't expect them to wear pure cottons because they can't afford it.
Then how can you
But-
say Katha? Katha is
Okay,
called-
I would like to
Yes.
put a point here. So since she's talking about Katha, yes. So some of the crafts in our country was born out of local needs.
Common-
Yes.
People were using it as functional items. Now suddenly there was a change in the society where most of these things were made commercial. The moment it became commercial, people forgot the emotion, they forgot the sustainable part of it, and then this, in order to compete, a deadline, a price point, and the mass market, all these dilution in the craft practice came in.
Right.
Nowadays, you will see, even I've been working with Katha artisans for more than 7-8 years now. I go and see they are using polyester tussar. They are saying China tussar. Okay, so poly tussar to do beautiful handwork. Their work is very good, but the base is polyester. So I asked them, why are you doing this? So they said, if we use pure tussar, the price
price.
point is very high.
Yes,
that's
So I would, and it is easy to embroider in this
is
fabric.
what I mean. You can't-
So this is
That's
where we
it.
come in. So when you go to Shantiniketan, you have this Shonibared Heart, which is
Yes,
now
yes.
extended into I
Yes.
think all days of
Yeah,
the week.
right.
It is
Shonibar-
everyday
Yeah,
heart now.
Saturday and Sunday has become more, crowded and everything. Boutiques go from here and they buy in lot and then they sell it to unknown, not informed people or who's not bothered. So exactly what she said, cheap fabric, substandard to okay workmanship. So people come and say, I want this sari for
That's
5,000 rupees and
practice
it's
for
full of
So
Yeah.
that made us think.
I would
So
like
for
to
them
take
that is
this
a bargain.
forward. Exactly. I would like to take this forward and put a northeastern perspective to it. Northeast is well known for its handcrafted
Yes,
right.
textile, and we have a lot of pride in each of these tribes and community, and
And
the
almost everyone
motifs,
learns
the pattern,
weaving.
and everything is so unique and sort of individualistic to either the family or the community or the area. And this used to happen with natural fibers.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say
Yes.
cotton,
Yeah.
linen,
Eri
silk,
silk,
eri silk,
eri.
moga silk. And there are variety of silks available in
Yes.
Northeast.
Yes.
Whether it's Meghalaya silk or Assam silk or Tripura silk or Manipur silk, they have their own category and quality.
Mulberry and
Mulberry. And growing up, we enjoyed the best and the most luxurious
And
textiles
the
you
diversity.
could ever lay your hands on, and our grandmother would store it for her daughters, and then her daughters, our mothers and aunts, would then keep it for us. Because possessing just one piece and you would wear it to these special occasions, because those were very richly woven textiles.
Part of the trousseau.
Part of
Yes.
the trousseau. Yeah, exactly.
And you wouldn't mind
Now,
wearing them
I
a few
would-
times.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
many
will-
There was no
Many
such
times.
thing of
Yeah.
one
And
selfie
we
done and
preserve
over.
it.
No such thing. One Insta picture done and over.
I think selfie
One
culture has
Facebook
destroyed
picture done and over.
Okay, so
I should
let Anupama get a
What
point.
Srinanda is saying and what you just said, both of you, that now I'm asking my mother, do you remember that 30, 40 years ago there was a certain kind of a fabric, and what I was told, can you just source it for me?
No.
No.
You will not believe. Forget the material. There is no question of using pure quality silk. There is no question of
Everywhere
cotton
it is
without
blends.
inclusion of poly fabric,
That's
poly yarns.
not everywhere, but yeah,
It is happening
it's
now.
become, it's quite
The
prevalent.
motifs
Yes,
are,
it is.
the
I
motifs
agree.
are there.
I
The
agree.
motifs are there because it is a part
Colours
of
are
your-
also there.
Colours are also there.
Yeah.
But the quality of the material is not what it used to be because of the economic factor that
Yes.
is killing this industry. The people
I
are
will-
unable to make value profit, So this is what's
So
happening.
in Nagaland, I'll tell you, we were asking them that why don't you use the original wool that you used to and the cotton, a lot of them told, first of all, there's global warming. So Nagaland is no longer that cold where you need that,
Thickness
thickness.
of wool, yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of that, we have started using
The
acrylic.
need is
Yes,
different.
yes.
And you will not believe they said.
Kashmir also.
No, they
The
said in a
needs
government
the wool.
training, they were introduced once to this polyester yarn, which was got from outside by a designer, and after that they
Acrylic
saw.
was introduced by one of the designers.
Yeah. So then they
Not-
said it was so
What a
easy
shame.
for us to weave, and because it was easy to weave, they started adopting that.
Acrylics don't break. no?
Yeah, they don't break.
Acrylic yarn will not
And it's
break.
not
no?
as
and it's
expensive.
cheap. It's cheap. It's a
It's
very
priced,
light
yeah,
yarn.
priced.
Easily
Okay, that-
available.
Look at cashmere.
Thinking of this
Where is
about-
cashmere doesn't
We all are very passionate and we can actually go on talk about this forever.
Totally.
But brings me to the next question. So what is the thing now? What is this next step? How does craft remain authentic? What is the challenge? How should we go around to make sure that the craft remains authentic while still being scalable to some extent, so that even artisans, like we said, should be able to make money?
one point each. One or everyone should give your
Yeah, we can
Start
start
with
with you.
Korami. Korami's
Okay,
not had a
yeah.
chance to speak.
Yes, we will go like this.
Yes.
No, making it more aware. People should be more conscious of what they are buying.
Yes.
And you see, people are not aware. Are they buying the right fabric?
When they ask,
they don't
why is
know.
it expensive?
Why is it? The first thing they ask is price. But then they should be made aware of things.
Why is it?
Why is it so expensive? And why is handmade so unique?
I think telling the story is very important.
Yes.
The narrative of the
And
product.
it is changing. A lot of people have started because they have realized the impact on environment. That thing people are conscious
Sure,
now.
sure.
So using natural dyes on these fabrics make it more important. And I've seen customers that do ask now, where has this fabric come from? They need to know and they want to know about this.
So there is a growing awareness.
There
for
is.
sure. Yeah, there is a growing awareness.
So-
but it needs to grow further.
No, you can't compare with that fast fashion and
and
get
we need
things
to
done
really
very
work
fast.
more.
No, that
No.
will take a long time. Maybe technology will
Okay.
have to be
I
introduced.
think, firstly, in order we have to start educating our youth to begin with.
100%.
We have to tell them the story of our heritage, how
Rich
this
textile
happened.
Indian
Exactly.
heritage, no one knows.
Until and unless they know the story.
And I don't think that should be limited to knits.
No, no, no,
and
no, it's from
at
school,
level.
totally from school
level.
level.
Which
Actually,
is where it's
when we
lacking.
were in school, we had this subject called work education. We learned actually
The
how to
hand
work
embroidery and all.
we had
Yes,
a-
yes,
It's not there anymore.
They're trying
Now
to
We
go
had to
back.
have this as PW.
I will give an
Social
example.
useful products
Since
for-
the government said they're going to give grants to schools to bring back craft and art into the lives of children, now schools, I have already done quite a few modules with Morton High, Gada High and all. They're bringing back, they're
That's
getting
good.
into block printing, do abstract thinking and all that, and I'm busy, but I try to do it because it's beneficial for the children. I don't know how much it gets into them because they're so, they're so restless. I
Attention
actually deal
span
with,
is so
yes,
limited.
7, 8, that is
But that's also a way of trying to
Plus,
hold their
I'm
attention.
like,
yes.
if I'm teaching 100 things, at least
Leaving
2
the
things
class,
have gone
because
into
you
them
have
for the
to-
future.
Yes.
So she's very right, and both of you are right. I think mostly what has to be done is the customer has to be informed.
Of course.
And it begins
Yes.
at home. And you see the shopping psychology of people, adults, and you gain. And I think the malls need to change. I think the malls should not, cannot in the long term promote foreign brands and brands which promote mass, which are actually not promoting our own heritage, culture and skill. I think they should be heavily taxed.
No, Mamani.
Are you questioning the entire?
Are we getting into the tariff war?
Yes. You have to protect yours.
I think that we
Yeah.
should take the help of technology
Yes.
to
Yes.
support the artisans.
Yes.
We should educate the artisans how to use technology to reach the masses.
In fact, that is
There
the
should
point.
be a blend
There should be
of
a blend. Technology cannot be enemy. It should be a tool. So I
modern
think
and
yes, I think that technology can be so useful if you teach the artisan and the community how to use it as a networking tool, how to increase their marketing activities, how
the digital
to
platform has to
digital
be
pla-
there.
how
They
to
have-
also create their own community or e-commerce platform.
Yes.
So right now, this is
Yeah.
so talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
Yes.
So if cryptocurrency, which is actually, you cannot, there's no scam and fraud, you can't do it because it's not available as, you can do it. It's not something a government controls, an individual controls.
Okay.
So basically,
Nothing tangible actually.
nothing tangible, it's
Yeah.
cyber.
Yeah.
So if like a barcode, if an artisan creates a product and it is somehow digitally, into like a
Technology.
Yeah,
hologram,
again,
Yes.
it can
Again.
exactly follow end to end. Like, I have
Absolutely.
created this product, I have
Yes.
put a price on
Yeah.
it, it is
Yes.
passing to
Yes.
3 hands, it's reaching there. How is
And
the journey
everybody
The
possible?
has
supply
a mobile
chain.
phone
Yes.
these
The
days.
supply chain can be mapped and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we are talking about the using of technology in the supply
To
chain,
enhance
whether back end or for front end.
so it
Right?
tells the
And-
story, it tells the narrative
Absolutely.
also. Yes.
So, but there's another thing that just struck me that also I think the designers
Yes.
or the creators of the craft
Yeah.
need to be more aware. Most of them don't even understand textiles. Not everybody is into boutique culture. Everybody is trying to create.
Everybody is a
and they don't
designer.
even know.
Everybody is a
Yeah.
designer.
Everybody,
right?
and
It's
everybody
very
is
true.
using,
Everybody
they
is a
don't,
designer.
they don't recognize polyester yarns from pure fibers, which is so sad.
Sure.
And they inherently support it by using it without realizing it also.
Right.
Yeah, a
Everybody
lot
who
of
has
time-
money is a
I will
designer.
tell you one thing. In one of the craft projects, government funded craft project that I was doing. So when I walked in, so the master artisan said, "Designer Didi eshe geche." So I told her that I'm not a designer. I'm a crusader. I am fighting to make craft survive. But we have a very important role to play. Whoever loves to create, I will not call any of us designers. I would say creators. what we have to do, we have to understand each craft, their uniqueness, their beauty,
Sure.
while preserving the
Yes.
limitation. No,
Yes.
every craft has a
Limitation,
limitation. We
absolutely.
have to identify the limitation, and based on it, we need to design. A lot of designers,
Yes.
they change the limitation to fit their bucket.
Right.
It should be the
This
other
is-
way.
this is-
It should be the
Yes.
other way.
This is,
Yes.
you have to use the limitation as a positive tool
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your design.
Exactly.
It
So
has to do-
designing has
without
to be clever.
Like I'll give you an example. So at Karomi, when we realized that a lot of people in the field were actually doing these repetitive designs which are jamdani, and then they would actually be produced on the jacquard machine, and then they were being claimed as authentic jamdani. So now the thing is that we were like, okay, if we want to do authentic jamdani, then what is it that we can do that the customer will know looking at the design that it's an authentic jamdani?
Right.
So we started making these designs which did not have a repeat, or they had such large
That
repeats.
uniqueness
Designer
So
can
then-
bring in that uniqueness.
And
That's the
that
purchasing
became
power.
one of the reasons for our entire collection, which is this random, non-repetitive, like
So
that
this
entire
brings me to talk of the designer, brings me to
Yeah.
the next topic.
Yes.
So what is the relevance, or how important it is to make craft or the handwoven sector more relevant for today's market, more future forward, more contemporary in terms of designs, and not just talk about it being traditional and revivalist. And what roles do designers play over here to bridge this gap between tradition and modern sensibilities?
From my experience, like when I work with artisans, they say this will take time.
Think about the AC.
And it will become very expensive. I said, I'm buying your time. You're supposed to do what I tell you, and you're not supposed to think. You will be allowed to think when I tell you, but right now you just do what I say. That's my vision, and I'm buying your time. And I tell them, I don't care if you have to open it 10 times. I don't care. I want it exactly the way it is. I'll pay you. So they say, if you do this, I can produce 5 pieces in this time. I said, I want one, and I'll pay you more than those 5 pieces. Now, do you have an argument? They said, no. So I said, open it, do it the right way.
Right.
Because here, I'm not creating mass-produced stuff. I'm creating one single stuff. It's a single edition thing. I don't care if it takes a year to do it, but I want it exactly. So that ethic or that, passion should be in a designer or a person, and that person should be able to pay the artisan, so he's not or she's not greedy that I can produce 5 stuff of substandard quality and I can get this much money. If money is the factor, cancel it out. Give them the money. I can afford it, the person buying it can afford it, but I'm creating something of skill, something that can be preserved. So that is one thing, and since we are in a public forum and we are talking of these things, I would like to say that people who supply us the raw material, like I do embroidery, so I work with anchor threads, and Manish, which is available here. So India doesn't have a standardized, thread company which produces, like if you go to Delhi, they'll use Neelam or telephone. If you go down south, they have some other. So
Right.
not
There's a lot of
quality.
threads.
Even in
Not
Manish,
standardized.
if you buy in one batch and you go back,
You
for
don't
3-4
get
months
the
later,
Be different.
so there's a difference in the shade and all. So that is necessary. Second of all, what is necessary? We say resham, but the threads we use are not resham, they are rayon. So I would like that quality to come in. Like when you see the shozu embroidery, the Chinese
That's
embroidery.
silk. That's actual
That's
silk.
Exactly. So we have, the Northeast which produces, there is a company which produces, but it's, I think one reel of 10 grams or something is like some stupendously expensive. So I cannot use it for my work, and there is a problem with the shading. Now also I would like to shift over to natural dyed threads, but there is no company which makes industrially dyed threads for people to use. Like we get Manish or we get Neelam or DMC threads which are not
They're not
used here.
available, readily
Yeah.
available in the
But
market.
that is true in
In
every, like you're talking about
Yeah.
embroidery, even in the craft sector, like we
Handwoven
make
yarn,
that
yeah.
is,
Yarns
there's no
are not-
standardization
yarns
of
are not
yarn.
there, yeah.
I
You
Even
understand.
know,
the counts, we
India-
struggle with counts also.
Yes.
In India, there is no concept of a yarn bank.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Yes,
concept
there's no
of a piece.
standardization.
Yeah,
There is no
standardization.
phantom shade.
You know,
Yeah.
you have a
Actually.
certain thread count, whether it is an
Yeah.
Egyptian cotton or
Yes.
Yeah.
cotton from so and so country.
Mm.
And depending on the thread count, you know the value of the material,
Yeah, exactly.
which does not exist.
But then
in
that
this
is
country.
again industrialized.
Yes.
When we're
No,
talking
we're
about
talking
thread
about
count,
handloom, like for instance.
yeah, but for handloom there is no such
That's what I'm
unfortunately.
saying, yeah.
For
There
Ruby,
is-
there
there
is,
is no
I mean,
such,
she
yeah,
is into this
standardized.
natural dye because she is an expert. So I would like to say, I understand in natural dyes, we have a few colors that we can make,
Yes.
say 7 to 8 or 10 colors, and we
Right.
can produce shades. Is it possible at any future time to make it in an industrial way
People have
so
tried.
that
They're dry.
In
Natural.
mass. So it's
Dry
very
and
difficult because I think by
dry.
inherently natural dye
Yeah,
it's very
ash,
difficult.
yes.
No,
You can't
they
really
Alps
stay or
Industries
standardize.
tried it.
Alps
Alps
in Delhi,
Industries
yeah.
in Delhi tried
there's
it.
another brand
But-
which is tried.
Yeah,
Uh,
many
So, but
have
tell
tried
me
it.
something.
Yeah.
You're talking about designers and
Okay,
design
I-
intervention.
Okay.
I would like to put here that we, designers have a very important role to play
Yeah.
here. And since we are talking about, slow fashion trying to compete with fast fashion,
Exactly.
I will say it is time for designers to make pieces that are smart, which will excite our youth, because youth is the future.
Yes.
So if we don't introduce them to our cultural heritage and handloom from a young age, they'll not understand it. So I think designers have to, we can never bring down the cost to fast fashion,
No.
but we will have to bring it down in such a way that, at least they can start buying 1 or 2 pieces, even in their wardrobe. Like every Durga Puja, if a young girl has one handloom good quality sari, and then if we can start introducing the exchange, like
Barter system.
exactly
Yeah.
no,
Oh.
in my
Yes,
class,
absolutely.
I had in styling class, I told them get in your favorite sarees, and then I said start exchanging it in class and drape it. So it was my first way of telling them that you have a new piece which you have not bought and you are loving it. So I said in this class there are at least 20 girls. So imagine you bought one sari, but you can have 20 occasions of wearing 20 different saris. You take your selfies in them, what they love,
Right.
without buying. So these are things that we need. Perhaps we can start.
The role of the designer is not to make things cheap. Like Sunitra
No,
said,
I am not
you-
saying cheap.
yeah,
I am
you
saying
Make it
so,
simpler.
yeah.
Simpler. So
No,
the price
make
is
it
the price.
simpler
Yeah.
to introduce a
You
few
do-
pieces.
you
In the
do
future,
There are
get
all
all
capsule
yeah,
collections maybe.
You see, one of the things that a designer does need to keep in mind is that the traditional skills of the artisan, be it embroiderers, be it weavers,
Weavers.
printers, whoever, it's our responsibility to ensure
It's
that the
preserved.
skill set is preserved. Okay, so if they are very apt at doing that level of embroidery or that level of weaving, we have to ensure that that level, even as we introduce and bring in design interventions, that level of skill keeps moving,
Upgrading, not
upgrading,
declining.
No,
and
so
not
here I'll tell
and
you.
evolving.
Well, here I'll tell you. I'll give you an example from Katha. So like Sunetra was saying, people love bhara hua kaam hai. Now, in order to bring down the price of the sari, then the designer can say
हाँ,
Yes.
just in placements.
बहुत
Yes.
fine
बहुत
काम है
fine.
in some places.
Yeah, quality
That's how to
in
bring
some
the price
places.
down,
So
yeah.
now it becomes at an affordable price, and you're not using the art silk.
Right.
Instead of that, use a cotton
And you're not
handloom.
Yeah.
compromising on the
Yeah,
skill.
exactly.
I
So
would
I'm
like-
not talking
yes.
about
Yeah,
compromising on
I
skill.
agree.
Maybe material manipulation
Yeah.
while
Or
keeping the
design.
craft intact.
this
or
is
the
what-
design.
This
Yeah.
is where design intervention
Yes.
comes in.
Yes, totally.
Tell me something about the collaborations that we're seeing happening with Sabyasachi and H&M. This appropriation of craft that's happening.
This is
This
a-
Prada with the Kolhapur.
Yeah.
Kolhapuri.
Sorry, before we move on to the bigger designers. I would just like
Let's
to
say none of
that-
us are designers or artisans. We're all artisans.
Yes.
Craft
So
enthusiasts.
I
And
am
you
saying
teach,
that
and
yes,
I teach.
you're talking about youth. I think that to get to the youth, you have to make handloom not always so ostentatious, and you do not have to infuse embroidery. You do not have to embellish it
That was
with
my point.
you know,
Simple.
sequins and
Yeah.
all. You know, we have all these stores like Zara, and you know they bring a whole lot of merchandise from Bangladesh, from Mexico,
and
from
everything.
Vietnam, and you know these are very smart designs.
Yeah.
So if you want to target the youth, you have to
Make
use
smart
smart designs
exactly
and
my point.
adapt
Yeah.
to the
Silhouettes.
modern times.
Yeah, yeah.
You do not give them.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
have to create.
It can be created in
wearable-
natural fibers,
Let's,
it can be created in
free,
handwoven
yes.
fabrics.
You-
And
Yes.
the silver fabric
Designs
more
and
Yes,
Yeah.
it has to
Traditional
be.
patterns
It has
can
to
be
be
there.
a multi.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that why
dimensional
are we
approach.
just harping on kurtis? I mean, like, really?
Why not a
The-
shrub?
why
Why
not-
not a bandana
Like
maybe?
a short
Yeah.
kurti or a top, you know,
Yeah. A
t-shirt.
tube top. Yeah.
Adapt the handloom fabric to make a t-shirt like kind of.
Or even a
top.
bag. I mean, let
You
them get
know,
introduced to it.
Yes.
Then we have gone into designing
Yes.
and the time to how to
Yeah.
attract the client.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to tell here is because she's from NIFT and I'm from NIFT and she's still teaching, I
Yes.
think in institutionalized teaching,
Yes.
it has to come in that the aspiration of a designer is not to be in the page of Vogue, not
Sure,
to be in the
yes.
cover of
totally.
Vogue.
I
But
agree.
the,
Yeah.
you know
I
what
agree.
has
To
to be
understand the-
taught and what has to be promoted and what has to be awarded
Yes.
is a person who's actually working with the craft,
Craft
with the
people.
Sure.
handloom.
Okay,
Sure.
I will just.
Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
No, I will, no,
yourself.
no. I will just tell that in NIFT, I remember when we were studying as students,
Hmm.
there was an award for best contemporization of traditional embroidery. There was an award given in the graduation collection. Yes, that award is. I don't think it's anymore.
I
there.
doesn't exist
I
anymore.
think-
I think we're completely digressing.
Okay, let's
We
move on to
gone
the next
down
one.
the
We are very
annals
bad.
of NIFT and
No,
because it's
we
not
We
all
got so many different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's
we
an
have a
institute.
lot of Niftians here. That's true.
No, only two.
No,
Yeah,
no,
she's a-
she
I
is
thought she's from NIT.
No. Okay, just one.
Oh God.
I'm from the
We all know that
I'm
we all know that handloom is inherently sustainable, right?
Sure.
Compared to. So how do we leverage that? I mean, is that where we are missing out? Should that be leveraged more in order to promote handloom? Because
Yes.
after COVID, the sustainable thing has become a big issue. A lot of people have woken up to the fact that we need to protect our environment, we need to protect our world. So just quick,
Yeah.
one point.
You have to protect our weavers,
I
our
think-
weavers.
And
the
sustainability
second
from different
generation is not there.
I don't
There's a
think
big
you
gap.
need to, I mean, according to me, you don't need to harp on sustainability as far as the handloom sector is concerned. I feel yes, it is inherently sustainable, but if you really want to, like we were talking about reaching out to the youth or even reaching out to a customer, all of that, it has to speak for itself. The craft has to speak for itself.
Oh,
Craft
that's
has to
fine.
be evolving. Craft needs to constantly be a living craft. So
That is one aspect of it, but it is definitely sustainability is a big part of handloom. A lot of people
Listen,
actually.
education is required. We have to
Awareness,
educate the customers.
Yes.
They should know why they are paying this extra price.
Right.
They ask.
There are
The main question
Yeah.
is price
There are
point.
No,
people
there
who
are
ask
three
me.
things which I want to point. First of all, this mass fashion or mass production, this is a very Western concept. What they have done is they have preserved their craft. China has, Japan has, France does. They do very artisanal stuff which are extremely expensive to buy,
Luxury.
and they have actually outsourced mass production to
India.
Yes.
Not only India,
Bangladesh,
whole of the Far
Sri
East.
Lanka,
Yes.
Whole of the Far East.
Thailand,
Yeah.
Indonesia,
Yeah.
So
Malaysia.
first that point. Second of all, as you were saying, price points. See, the fact is not about bringing price points will automatically come down when it is widespread, when people buy.
And production.
And production is also geared for
Yes.
that. As I said, I buy threads which are rayon. I ask you industrial, you said no, they have failed. So then I don't have it. So somebody,
Yeah.
if they dye it exclusive for me, the word exclusive comes in
Then it
price
will be
points.
go
Price
up.
points
It
go
will
up.
be
Yeah.
expensive.
So
Market for
exactly,
it.
exactly. So that is another point. Third of all, as I said, the aspiration cannot be to be on the page of N, to do good work, and it has to begin from our homes and informing who's the buyer, who's the next buyer, your teenager or person who's
totally
going buying the
right,
first sari.
Totally.
But she has to also grow up in an environment which is uniform.
And appreciate and
appreciate it.
understand
That has to be a
this
part
is
of
our
our
education.
culture.
But if you bring in Sabyasachi,
Yeah.
now everybody aspirations ki band baja bride, I'll also be a Sabyasachi bride. Now how can you compete with
Yeah,
that?
sure.
Because see, the mindset is
That's
that.
a different.
You're forgetting. No, you're forgetting. If he's
They have to go
promoting
back to
handlooms,
the
I'm not
roots.
saying the way he's promoting is wrong.
I mean, there's no right
I support
or
where
wrong.
he's gone because I've seen him.
I don't think there's
No,
a
my
right
eyes,
or wrong
the
here.
kind of hard work he has done, he deserves every accolade he's getting. He's in a different, totally
Genre,
different
yeah.
genre and
Yeah.
everything.
I think
But
he
let's
gives
say what we are
space
trying to
to-
say here is far removed from what he's doing. He is
So,
giving
What
aspirations to
I'm
people
trying to
which is
also
not
say,
going on.
ask you all is that we know it's inherently sustainable and across different factors. You talked about culturally,
Mm.
which is a big part of sustainability, cultural protection of cultural roots, heritage, and everything. There's also environment. We all know a hand woven piece, the kind of consumption of energy is far less than that.
Not
Oh,
really.
yes.
Of course,
There's hardly any
If
difference.
you really want to
Yeah.
leverage
That's
it,
true.
let me share a story here. If you remember when we'd gone on during that craft cohort, when we were part of that entire thing and we went to Jaipur Rungs and we saw this big board, an entire wall was dedicated to the 15 or the 21 steps that go into just cleaning the rug and finishing the rug. Now that is something that most people who are in the rug making industry
No.
probably know and take for granted.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But
An
they made a
average
story out of
customer
it.
does not know.
No.
Yeah.
But they created a story out of it. We all were so fascinated that my God, there are so many steps involved in just
So
finishing
now
a
the
rug.
price becomes justified.
Now the
Yeah,
price is
price
justified.
becomes
So when
justified,
we are making our own things, like a lot of times when Sarika and I are discussing like how to go about it, what's the narrative to be set, we take so many things for granted. So many steps in the making of a piece are taken for granted because
Sure.
we've not really looked into it
Exactly.
from the perspective of a customer who
Yeah.
does not know
Sure.
So if
and is asking why.
So for you,
why the
it's a
price.
usual practice.
Create the narrative.
That narrative,
Yeah.
I
Very
think this is
important,
what you
yeah.
meant by leveraging
Advertise. You have
sustainability.
to,
That's why we are
discuss
clever.
and
Even
educate the
economically,
narrative.
think about it. We all spoke about how artisans should get their thing. But the moment more and more people get into hand wovens, more and more people start buying hand wovens, they start understanding.
Then the-
Artisan will get
then,
its due.
yeah.
That's one of the things, and also you're
Let's
preventing so
stay in
much.
the
Yeah.
trend
You're
also.
preventing this migration
Yeah,
to the cities
migration.
Yes,
that is
yes.
happening. And
Leaving
it's such a
their
natural.
crafts.
If you
Leaving
will,
the
yeah,
roots,
right.
leaving
Second
their-
generation.
Exactly.
the
If
pride
you,
is not
if,
there.
if
And the
you
pride in the second generation that needs to come back.
Yes.
If you
Prevents
protect the
segregation.
craft, if you protect the craft, the craftsperson is automatically protected.
No, it's
You
not
have to
automatic.
protect
You see,
the
I'll tell
craft.
you, it's like a Hindi movie, formula. So you have an artisan who suddenly won an award from the grassroots level. Say, let me take the case of Anwar, Chitrakar. Okay, he's gone to a high level where his things are hung in museums and there are buyers and he's just gone from here to superstardom and he's done something different which other artisans were not doing. Now, if you go to Hostoshipo Mela, which happens every year, you will have Anwar copies. At least 50 artisans are doing that. Now, you are that is in the museum. A very diluted and rubbish copy of that is being sold on the soil, on the
On the
plastic
ground. Yeah.
ground. Now, a person who can't afford that will afford this.
Of course.
Some of
Because
us
Yeah.
of 1.6
Yeah.
or 1.4 billion, there is a buyer for
For that
That also.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the pride is gone.
The pride is gone, the quality
Is
is gone,
gone,
the
yes.
authenticity is
Exactly.
gone, craft itself has been
But
compromised.
I think that is, again, both these markets will coexist. This is the nature of our industry.
Yeah,
I know it.
I think in
for us,
every strata
as
there is
designers,
some
as
makers.
designers, as creators, it always irks us. It always somewhere we get affected by it. But that's a reality. You have a taker for this, you will have a taker for that. And this is the taker, this person will preserve the craft, this person will use the craft to survive.
I think fast fashion uses slow fashion as a narrative.
Yeah,
as a
that's really
marketing
sad.
gimmick,
Yeah.
and
Where
they do
sustainability
exactly
is a
what you-
buzzword.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
It's a
Exactly, you
buzzword.
said it.
And let's
It's
not
a buzzword.
forget that in our country, especially in India, handloom is the biggest and the largest cottage industry.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
So-
still 3 point, I got
So
that
there
data,
is
13
no way
lakh
that
households.
it
Yeah.
will die
Story
so
about that.
soon. There's no way it's going to.
In
be.
fact, I don't know if
It's-
you all have walked into a khadi store recently in Connaught Place. They are keeping amazing collections which they are collaborating with designers, small
Yes,
capsules.
Yes,
yes.
they are
This is, I think,
collaborating.
is a very nice way to
Absolutely,
Yes.
and that is the modern way.
That
That
is
is the way forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the way forward to
Yes.
collaborate
To
with
collaborate
designers to
designers.
make authentic
Exactly.
There we
pieces.
go. The answer
Design
is now to educate the designers.
I think
and
co-creation
the stores
is the best
and
way.
Co-creation is collaborations, co-creations are the,
So,
it's the way
coming to our
forward.
final question, what kind of, all of us can speak one line or maybe just one point, what kind of ecosystem does the sector need in terms of whether policy support, awareness, education, market, whatever,
let's
one
talk
point
about
each,
our
what
own areas.
different,
Yeah.
what do you think it needs to thrive or to make it more viable?
So I think when it comes to weaving, one of the most basic needs in this field is a standardized yarn bank,
Yes.
where prices are standardized, quality is standardized, dyes, colors are standardized, and where you
Yeah.
don't have to depend on industrial, sources for it.
Particular brand or a particular.
Yeah,
Gauravi?
so that is
I
very,
think I
very
second
important.
that because that is very important. That's one of the most important thing that was standardization.
Okay.
Colors, yarns,
I think government policies
and
are
policies.
just
Yes,
on
I
paper.
was thinking of
They are just on paper.
They are there, but they're on
And,
paper.
Yeah, so I don't think, I mean, I have seen the workings of various government offices for whatever reasons, and I feel that, like, I'll again take the name of it because I've gone through it. How can an IAS officer be the director of it? Administration is fine, but it's a design school.
You
So,
won't understand.
in the same way, handicrafts, handloom people, the people who run the show, who decide the fate of the awards and
Are not
artisans
really
and everything,
connected.
how are they connected to design? How are they connected to the craft? How do they understand
They
anything?
don't, they understand a very, very.
At a very minimal level, they are
Yeah.
like,
Srinanda?
yeah.
Okay, I think educating our youth would start from school.
Yes.
So mothers will have to show them the sustainable practices that were done in the house. So घर से अगर हम शुरू करते हैं, like
School should have it in a
yeah,
subject.
no, as a subject is there, but also
It's not
practicing. It should not be textbooks. They should start practicing it also. So
Maybe start using
it
it
has to
more,
become
start
part of our
recognizing.
lifestyle and not just a handloom day, so I wear a handloom for that
Right.
day. It should not be that. Then again, in design schools, like Sunitra rightly said, the aspiration should be, what am I using from my heritage to present it to the global world and become a designer?
That is the reason for Karuna
not
coming to me.
not becoming
Yeah,
somebody on Vogue
That's why I
doing
want to ask
flashy
you.
satin gowns. So that is the next level of education. The third level of education, I think, is telling stories, like you said, behind the scenes, so that the consumer and the customer is aware that why Karomi sari is for this price, whereas something similar looking in Tantuja I get at this point. So they should know the difference. Then it becomes fair, because I think every craft item of various qualities has its own market.
Right.
Yes.
But they should know why
Why the
that
price.
belongs to that segment and why the price. So I
Anupama?
think this
I-
is what my
I will
point
stick
is.
very shortly to technology, to use technology to
Definitely.
help create these kind of platforms. Also to use technology to educate both the consumer, the artisan, the designer and everybody concerned in this chain of right from your yarn to your weaving to your crafts, artisan, master weaver, and teach, hand it down, sort of from the
But at, this,
weaver.
and at the same time, there should be a cross learning in the sense
That's
that
what-
as much
cross-learning,
as
yeah.
we need to learn the importance of craft, I think the makers themselves
Yes,
need
they
to-
have to,
yes,
yes,
they
yes.
have to.
They
There
have
there
to
has to be a
educate.
pride
So I think next
instilled
time,
in them
yes,
for
yes.
their
Next time we
own
have a discussion, we should have an artisan and a fast fashion person here.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that
we
would
can
be
get
very
their
useful.
perspective,
Yeah.
because all of us
Yes,
are very
the
enthusiastic
views.
about craft. So we are saying very positive things for its preservation. Let's hear the other side of the
Yes.
argument.
Okay, we'll keep
Sure.
that in mind.
Yeah,
So to
very, very good
conclude,
topic.
it was a very
No, but
passionate.
before we conclude, I just want to, because both of you been to IFM.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to know, because you met people from all over and mostly artisans who actually work artisanal, I mean, with their hands, it's not machine made. What was your experience and what did you learn from the others?
Okay, we'll have this discussion after this. A lot of
I think
questions
people
to
would like
answer.
to know.
There are a lot of questions also. We'll get that into it. We'll have a private discussion. But to conclude, in today's what we have discussed, as far as my concluding points are that in today's globalized world, both fast fashion and handcrafted textiles have their own distinct place and markets that they address. While fast fashion may dominate in volume, traditional craftsmanship thrives in value, whether it's cultural, emotional, or ecological. There's no competition.
There is.
Fast fashion world addresses the need of mass market, while on the other hand, handwoven textiles is pure luxury, evoking nostalgia and weaving stories of age-old traditions, heritage, and culture. So the intersection of craft and commerce need not be a battleground. Instead, it can serve as a platform for mutual growth.
Sure.
Designers, consumers, policymakers each hold a thread in this evolving tapestry. If woven with care, the future of traditional textiles will not only preserve heritage, it will also shape a more inclusive, ethical, and beautiful fashion world. So,
Summed it up well.
we have some questions from our audience. Let me ask the first one. As someone who doesn't work in fashion, how can I, as a consumer, genuinely support handloom and craft in my everyday life? Srinanda,
Yes.
I think you should answer this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got the answer, but
Yeah, so basically, first of all, you have to become an crusader or an ambassador of handcraft. Start buying whatever you can afford, which is genuine and authentic. And whenever you are maybe wearing it, putting up a picture, write a little bit of detail about it, so people know what you're wearing. So I keep on putting
Good
pictures
idea.
every
Of
day.
course.
I do the look of the day, but everywhere I write the details of what textile or whatever I'm wearing, where is it sourced from, that will also open up a window for the artisan from where you bought or the brand. There are so many pop-up little brands who are working. So, you would actually become give a platform to those people also. So this I think we should all do.
okay, our next question is, I think a couple of them have asked this. Do you think craft product can be part of everyone's home, no matter their economic condition?
Yes.
If no, how can we make it possible?
The craft is already, I think.
Yeah, they are. What we can do is, I think the person who's buying is, as you said, that they have to understand why Karumi, a sari from Karumi or a dress from Karumi costs this, and something that is sitting on the Bodhihat, footpath costs that. So once they understand that, they will understand the value of what they would like to keep in their house and what they would like to preserve and what they would like to. So I think the customer has to be more
Craft is
informed.
already very much part of our homes.
Yes, definitely.
Especially
They
in
were
India, craft
practices.
is.
They were
Yes.
actually living
Yeah,
practices.
they're living, and craft is so much part of our home. It's on our walls, it's on our shelves, it's on our
Everywhere.
tables,
It's on our
everywhere.
sofas, the
I
dishes,
think-
it's
everywhere.
on
I
our-
think the problem is we have stopped making them ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the problem.
Yes,
That is
yes,
the
yes.
problem.
Yes, there was a time when I have seen my mother doing cross stitch.
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
at home. We
Yeah.
all
Yes.
done it, but
Yeah.
And also, I think we stopped recognizing it as craft.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's
taken as
just taken
a
for
granted.
granted. That
Taken
is
for
what has
granted.
happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, another thing which is, again, I think it's a very contemporary topic. Do you think a lot of brands in India right now are monetizing with the name of craft?
Yes.
Are they
Yes.
exploiting the
Yes.
artisans and craftsmen in the
Handmade
process?
craft.
this is absolutely true. In fact, sustainability, handloom, all of these have become just
The word.
words to be
Bywords.
used.
They are hashtags.
They're hashtags.
Hashtags,
They're
right.
hashtags because
Expressing
that will get them garner them a certain audience.
Yeah, totally.
It's very unfortunate someone who may be doing 0.02% of sustainability or whatever in
Yes.
their own work are claiming themselves to be sustainable. But the problem is not that they are claiming themselves to be sustainable. The problem lies with those people who are 99% sustainable, who are looking at that 1% and saying, oh, how can I? You know, because we need to talk. No one can ever be 100% sustainable, but like Sunita, you were saying, can we stop using plastic? We can't stop using plastic, right? Because
But we
plastic
can
is
reduce our
waterproof.
consumption
But
in areas
if
and
you,
consciously trying to reduce
but if you're reducing the
awareness,
use of it,
awareness.
if you're recycling it, if you're upcycling it,
Yeah.
if you're
Yes.
reusing your plastics, you're
Think
being
about it.
sustainable. So I think like in Karomi, I'm
Cannot
just
be
making things
extreme.
up. Can't be extreme. You have to somewhere draw a line in
Balance.
between. How sustainable are you? So if you're using natural fibers, you're making an effort to use natural dyes, you're using handmade, processes. So
I think we should all look at the
Not
effort
sustainable.
more
Yes.
than trying to have figures and percentages.
you
Yes.
need to
Yes.
talk
Yeah.
about
Manage.
your
Yes,
Narrative.
but only when we have something to talk about. I think social media to a large extent is bullshit. If we talk less and work more, I think we'll get where we are going.
On that note,
Yeah, like every
we are
saree
live on
is a
social
khadi
media.
saree. Yeah. 500 rupees ka khadi saree. I really want to buy those.
You know, I have still not realized.
I think that's an area where customer
What
needs
is a
to understand that
khadi
it's
silk?
500 rupees,
Can you
it's not khadi, it's not removable, it's
Yeah.
not.
It's a key. What is
Khadi-
this species?
Okay, Thank all our panelists today for such an interesting, passionate discussion about a topic I think that we are very closely connected with.
More insurance.
And we hope to come back with many more such topics in future for all our audiences out there. I'm sorry I couldn't address all of the questions. Time is short, but thank you for reaching out with your questions.
And thank you for joining us.
Done?